Hey everyone, welcome back to Quick Shots. I'm your host Mick Chambers. We're here with Madison Childers from Idaho. Amazing single string archer. How you doing, Madison?
Pretty good. How are you?
Great, thanks for being on the show. That's awesome.
You.
You got a really cool Instagram page, and you're a YouTuber. Is that right?
Yes, we're getting into it.
What's the YouTube page?
It is Sick Bow Fit Mama.
Stick Bow Fit Mama,
Yes.
and that's also your Fit Mom though. Your Fit Mom on Instagram. Stick Bow Fit Mom on Instagram. Stick Bow.
Sick Bow Fit Mama on Instagram as well.
Okay. All right.
Yeah.
I don't know why I wrote down mom here. Maybe it's just the way it shows up on my thing, but
Yeah.
that's cool. So
Yeah.
first of all, why, like, I mean, okay. Your stick both, we get
Yep.
that part. So what's
Yep.
the fitness? So what's the
So
fitness thing?
I actually do bodybuilding also, and I didn't realize how much my bodybuilding side of things really benefited me in my archery. So here we have really hard winters, and my shows that I was this last one I was planning for, I was doing most of my lifting through the winter.
Yeah.
And I came in this spring and I was pulling back my bows, no problem. I have my hunting recurve is 53 pounds. And usually I won't shoot that, a ton during my trad courses, but
Hmm.
I was pulling that back with no problem and using the correct muscles. So it really showed me how much fitness takes a huge role in archery.
Before, I just want to, before the men that watch this show, or even the women that are watching this show go, yeah, but she's a girl, so she's probably like 5'1", and she probably only pulls that 53-pound bow. You probably only pull your draw length is probably only 21 inches, but let's correct them,
My
right?
draw length is 28 inches.
Yeah,
Yeah.
53 pounds, baby. The
Full
fingers.
anchor point.
Oh my gosh, I don't even. I can't go there. It's a young man or woman's game now to do that. So, but I guess if you're working out all the time, it's good though.
Yeah. And I have created some bad habits recently because I was trying to shoot that a lot last year towards the end of the season. And we have these they're pretty much called like the fall warm up shoots. So you're not shooting for trophy anything. The yardages for traditional are marked for realistic shots that we would take for hunting.
Mhm.
And I was like, sweet, I'm going to shoot my recurve, and I started shooting it a ton and I shoot it really, really well. Those like first 10, all you need is one really good shot, right? Hunting. And I
Yeah.
should stick with that because I started shooting it way too much and I developed a bad plucking problem because I was
Oh,
pulling my shoulder a lot.
yeah.
So I'm fighting that right now with my longbow. My longbow's 47 pounds and I shoot that for all of my competition shoots. And I shoot that one easy. And so I'm trying to correct that. I even have a little 25 pounder like PSE that I have all my girlfriends shoot when I make them come out and tag along with me. And I think I'm
I
going to pick
don't
that
even.
up.
Maybe to go back and correct your form or get your form back to where it wants to be.
Exactly.
Um, yeah. So okay, let's back up then. Why don't you give us your origin story? Like, why, why single string?
So my grandpa Steve, he lived in Onalaska, Washington most of my childhood. We finally got him to move back over here in 2017, but he is a traditional archer through and through. And growing up, I worshiped my grandpa. And so we got to go to a family camping trip, is what my mom thought it was. My mom is anti outdoors, like I should say
Really?
anti camping, anti hunting. Not anti, she just grew up with my grandpa doing it and she had no interest. And so all of a sudden we go to this family camping trip that ended up being a bow shoot. And her sister, my aunt, was there also.
Yeah.
And my grandpa took us out on the course and I had no idea what archery was, anything about it, and I fell in love after one loop. And I ended up coming back to camp and finding like a branch and trying to tie some grass together to create a string. Like I wanted to do it, right? So there was this gentleman named Longbow Bob that was one of my grandpa's best friends, and he took me aside and he taught me, why you can't use a dead branch, and he helped me cut a live branch, and he even took a bowstring and he made me a legit little bow that I shot that entire weekend with their hand-me-down stuff. And I was
Mhm.
hooked and I was 7 years old. And so I've been shooting now for 21 years. Really got into it about 6 years ago. My grandpa moved back, and I'd always wanted to hunt, but I didn't have anybody here that I really trusted to teach me.
Yeah.
And there isn't a ton of traditional hunters out there.
No.
My husband compound hunts, and it's cool, but my whole experience with it is I want the lifestyle that comes with traditional, the people, the being 15 yards from an animal. Like, you really have to work hard for it. And so that whole side of it, I've just never been able to. I've tried to take on compound for, the hunting aspect. I just can't make the switch. It's
No.
all traditional. I love it.
Yeah, I know some of the stuff I think you even posted something on Instagram. It's like, yeah, no, I'm never going to do that. It's never
Nope.
going to happen. Not going
And
to
it's
happen.
that friendly rivalry that you have with compound shooters. My son is 4, and my husband and I had to fight over whether or not he was going to learn on a compound or a trad bow, and well, I won.
Yeah. You don't want to put dresses on your kid, on your
He
boy.
doesn't need training wheels.
No. That's for your husband. Hey, so I would be remiss if I didn't go back to Longbow Bob. That is a awesome handle, first
Yes.
of all.
Yep. And it's funny. We would go to these bow shoots with my grandpa, and he would know a John, a Bob. I mean, like the most generic names. And there was probably, I think, one shoot we had 4 different Bobs shooting with us in a group. And I was like, this is why there's a Longbow Bob. Like, that's why you have to make nicknames.
And you were telling me before we started shooting that you are Pacific Northwest, but you are north, so you're close to the Canadian border.
Yes.
So I just tell you, as a Canadian, we name everyone Bob. I mean, back in that generation, everyone was named Bob. So I don't like across the board. I don't know where it came from, but if someone knows, leave a comment below. Why Bobs in Canada? It's like, if you think about the famous Bob and Doug McKenzie, and anyway, Bob and Doug seems to be like a very famous name. What do you hunt?
So I hunt bear, elk, and deer. Now that I have my son, it's obviously much harder to take him to those type of hunts with me, but I'm determined to get him out there. So this last weekend I took him turkey hunting, which was my first time going out and his very first time, which was absolutely a blast.
You guys are the cutest thing ever. Both of you walking the bush, and just going hunting. That's amazing. I think, yeah, it's so family, man. It's just so family. It's so wholesome. Love it. And so does he get excited, or is he like, I don't want to do this? Mom, can we please just go home?
He gets so excited, and it's really funny. So he memorizes the shoots that we go to based on the targets that they have. So he has one that's called the monkey shoot, which is Sasquatch. He thinks Sasquatch is a monkey. Yeah, and it was our very first shoot of the year, and he begs to go back there. We had this last one. It's out at a bison ranch. So you would think he would remember the bison.
Yeah.
They have these 2 frogs at the end of one of the courses. And so it's the frog shoot. So he has a blast. We took him one time. They had it set up for trad only. And then a couple weeks later, it was, we have a thing called the Triple Crown. So it's like a outdoor competition that's multiple different clubs. And so it was traditional and compound. And he had almost the entire course memorized. He knew what target was coming next just from the couple weeks before. Wow. So he really gets super engaged, and he has a blast doing it.
That's awesome. That's awesome. Yeah. Super, super smart kid. And he's learning the right stuff, right? He's learning, I'm not going to be, hopefully he doesn't get on his iPad or whatever. And he's just, I'd rather shoot a bow, or I'd rather make a bow, or I'd rather.
Yes.
That's so much fun. That's good. That's good. I think that's just good parenting. That's just good parenting.
Now, when we went turkey hunting, I have to say, I brought a cart, one of those Costco carts. And I put him in some foliage, and then I put a blanket and a pillow in there. And as I was getting set down, I did give him some screen time for just a few. And then I took it away, and he came out and did some turkey calls, but sometimes it's needed.
You got to. There's a little bit of strategic parenting with iPads and screen time. It's strategic though. But at least, it's okay. It's like us, if we eat a big meal, let's make sure we work out after that, or don't eat a big meal the next day. Right. So just in moderation, everything's great. It's just good parenting. And obviously your husband has nothing to do with that. It sounds like you're doing all the great parenting. I mean,
Totally.
he's totally leading them down the wrong path by, it's setting a bad example with that compound. I
I
don't know.
agree. My poor husband is such a trooper because I prefer going to trad only. Like I said about the community, there is really something to be said about traditional shoot, like the archers with the traditional world. It's just, you can go to a trad only shoot and it's just a completely different dynamic.
Yeah.
And I love that. And so my poor husband, he is actually really good. So my 53-pound recurve, he'll shoot that at those competitions with me.
Oh,
He
nice.
does really, he does really good.
Is he there? Bring him in here. I want to hear about it.
He's hiding with Bradley in the bedroom so he doesn't
Okay.
come
All right.
in.
All right. Yeah. If I would have saw him out shooting too, I would have brought you in as a family.
Oh, you're so
But
sweet. He's my cameraman for a reason.
oh, is that right? Okay. Well, that's good. That's good. You need that some moral support too.
Mhm.
You need that single string support. What bow are you shooting currently? Like, what's your favorite bow? If you had to pick one off the rack or whatever, what would be your favorite bow? What's your go-to?
My go-to is my PL2 Black Widow. It
Nice.
is 64 inches. It has diamond black skin on it, and it's gorgeous. It's gray
Mm-hmm.
bark, so it's kind of like a dark gray. And
Mm-hmm.
then it has all of the red accent through the riser. And then I have a beaver tail grip on it. And so it fits really nice in my hand. I started shooting longbows because my hands are really small.
Mm-hmm.
And the recurve, the big risers, I was constantly dropping my hand off to the right after I would release. I just couldn't get a good feel on it.
Yeah.
So even on my recurve, it has the Toby grip, the same grip as my longbow. So they're really
Yeah.
interchangeable.
Oh, that's good. So it's a good feel. It's a little bit quicker. It's a lot quicker. Your recurve's a lot quicker, right? So for
Yeah.
hunting, that's a very flat
The
arrow.
extra poundage, it's shorter, so it goes up in a tree stand a lot easier.
Yeah, that's
But
awesome.
yeah.
So tell us I want to get into hunting just a little bit. But before that, what's your arrow setup for like 3D or are you shooting wood? Or are you shooting carbon or what are you doing?
I can't shoot wood for whatever reason. It shoots awful for me. And I've
Okay.
tried multiple different ones, but my grandpa loves them. So anytime I acquire some cedars, it's
Yeah,
awesome. We'll trade.
that's
My
good.
go-to, especially we have a shoot coming up this weekend, actually, that's called the rock shoot.
Yeah,
It
yeah,
is that. It is a
yeah,
rock shoot. It's all basalt rock. So I always make sure to bring extra arrows for that. So cost-wise, I started getting the gold tip blemishes from Three Rivers Archery.
yeah.
Um, the 500 spine flies perfect with 120 grain tip on it, field tip. Um,
No, that's awesome.
it's perfect. And then actually at this rock shoot a couple years ago, I found these pink and red feathers. And so my bow having the red accents, and then I love the neon pink. You can see it everywhere. It was the coolest feather combination. So then I did a really neat like red wrap on it
Yeah.
with the neon pink arrows and then the gold tip knock, and it is pink knock there.
I love that. Yeah, I
Yeah.
love it so much. I could listen to you talk about your how you're geeking out on your arrow
Oh man,
build and just that's what it's what the sport's about too.
it
It's
really
about
is.
it's the pastime. It's like I got my gear and I love it. Right. I
Yeah.
love my gear and this is why. And I customize it. And I'm able to make my own feathers. And I got this beautiful, Black Widow bow. Shout out to Black Widow. They're right
Oh,
here. They're not too far from us. So, and
oh, that's awesome.
they do make some of the best custom bows in the world.
Yes.
People love them. So just great stuff. So it's amazing to hear you geek out. That's what it's all about, right? It's
Well,
all
the worst
about.
part is those are the bows that I started with because that's what my grandpa started shooting. Oh, like by the time he got into it, that's all he had. And so I was very privileged to get to pretty much start right in at the top of some of the best custom bows they have. And now it's kind of bad because it's
Can't go
hard to
back.
shoot anything else.
Yeah, you can't go anything less than a
No.
Black Widow. I mean,
Yeah.
there's certain bow manufacturers out there. Coffee made me, Java Man made me a beautiful longbow. And he's out of Michigan, And I'll tell you right now, they're lower cost
Mhm.
but they're so good. Coffee
Yes.
does a great job. So Java Man makes a good bow. There's a lot of other guys out there that are making really good
We
bows
have a
though.
really awesome one, fairly local, Dan Tolke in Montana. They make
Right, Tolkien,
That's what my grandpa's
fantastic.
gone to. He has, I think, 6 of Dan's bows now,
What?
and, their whole family is just amazing. They were at the Western States Rendezvous a few years ago in Lolo Springs, and we met
Yeah,
all of them, and just such down-to-earth people, such an amazing company, so love supporting them. Their risers are they're really small, which is kind of the opposite of what I was explaining. So I
yeah.
take a little bit if I shoot my grandpa's, they take a little bit of adjusting for me, but they're incredible. They are quiet and they are dead in the hand.
I mean, does he need another grandkid? I just like I probably about the same age as him, maybe, but
He's
I
gonna be
could.
so embarrassed when he watches this.
I gonna I would love to if he wants to adopt me as a grandchild. I'm
Right?
more like yeah. I'm probably almost the same age as him. But the thing is, I just want to be able to shoot some of his bows. So maybe I'm gonna. Is he out there with you too? You guys are all in the same area, your
Yes.
whole
So
fam?
he's about 2 hours away now from us, but we go to
Yeah,
all the shoots together. So like this weekend, he's actually leaving early tomorrow. He being from Washington, he's been going to this shoot I want to say about 26 years because this is the 30th anniversary this weekend of the
yeah.
shoot. And all of his friends from Washington come over, which have now become like family to us. And it's the only time out of the year we get to see everybody. So it's one of our favorite shoots that we look forward to.
All right. So just a big shout out to Steve Morris, right? Is it
Yes.
Steve Morris? Yeah,
Yep.
Steve, Grandpa. It's just up in there. The offer's there. I'm a really good kid. I am. I am. I am. It wouldn't to do much to adopt me. I guarantee you. But if you got all these Tolkien, I think I need to. I think I need to
Right?
stop by and help shoot those for you.
You would say
Great
anytime.
company, great bow. Okay, so take me through your shot process. How do you? You've been doing this for a while. I mean,
Yeah.
you're not a rookie. You're a veteran. So, so take me through your shot process. How do you actually shoot these things?
Yeah. So it sounds so bad, but so I instinctive shoot. I've learned from some of our friends about string walking and different things. And I think that there is such a benefit to instinctive shooting. And I've even, like, my husband's even agreed with me learning to do that first and then going into compound has helped him a ton.
Yeah.
So I definitely am happy to have that problem, but I can't do anything else. You find what works for you and you kind of stick with it.
Mhm.
But pretty much I have had to play with even this year a little bit of my anchor point. So I've always hit right here on my cheek, but
Yeah.
I've kind of been taking my thumb and anchoring it back a little bit more in my jaw, just kind of making that mental note of, okay, hit and hold. And it makes me, like I said, I have this plucking problem that I've been
Yeah.
having.
Yeah.
I also shoot with a glove, and I've talked to some other female archers, and I shoot split finger.
Yep.
And I notice at the end of a shoot, my ring finger really feels kind of fatigued, especially like after a whole weekend of shooting 400 plus arrows. So I think I'm pulling a little bit extra with that finger also. So I've
Yeah.
tried to shoot with the tab just to maybe alleviate that, but that was horrific. I cannot shoot tab.
I did. Keep going,
So
keep going. We'll talk.
that's pretty much I what I do is I take my bow and I've really worked on my bad habit of slapping my arm. So now I refuse to wear an arm guard, but I will point it out and I'll get almost in position, not fully obviously pulled back, but I'll line up the tip of my arrow with the target where I want to hit. And then when I pull back, I readjust, I shoot both eyes open. And then I will lock in on my anchor point, and I actually hold a little bit longer than most people think, especially with 47 pounds.
Yeah.
But it's just that mental note. I make sure that my tip is lined up where I need it to be. If I'm shooting 20, 30, 15 yards, just kind of adjusting with what I've learned over over,
You know,
time.
you said you're an instinctive shooter, and then you're like, no, I point my tip at the target. That's not
Yeah.
instinctive. That's not
What's funny though
instinctive.
is like what I'll do is I'll point it at the target and then I
Hmm.
adjust my bow arm once I hit anchor if I need
Right.
to raise it or lower it based on how far I think I am. I'm
Okay.
also really bad at guessing yardages, so
Yeah.
I've just had to take it in with, oh, this looks good.
Yeah, so there's a new term for that. It's called gap stinctive.
Okay.
So you kind of, so it's just a funny term because you're actually using the tip, but you're like, I don't know where the tip's supposed to go, but I know that it's there. And I'm like, okay, this looks right for this distance. Boom. I let go.
Yeah.
So you're kind of instinctive because you're not judging the art. You're just like, the feel of the bow and how far the arrows fly and the curve.
Yeah.
So yeah, you're kind of doing what people are calling now gap stinctive, but that's interesting.
There we go.
Let's talk a little bit. Let's go back to the glove thing. That's a pet peeve of mine. I want to try and get everyone off gloves. But here I can fix it really good. So if anyone else is listening too, and you do feel like you're wondering, what is the pressure?
Yeah.
How much pressure should I put on each finger? As long as you shoot consistently, it doesn't matter. But for the majority of us, we put a lot of pressure on these two fingers and very little on this one. And the way you can check that, Madison, is let's take a picture of yourself. It should look like this. It should look like this finger should almost be straight. Almost be straight. I put a lot of pressure on this finger here because I, like you, started split finger.
Okay.
Right. So when we split finger, we want that sort of the pressure is underneath the knock there,
right,
or that up here. We don't want it too much up here. It feels weird. So anyway, and then if you go back and it looks like this angle, then you know that you're probably got the right pressure.
That's good.
But
play with that.
Yeah, play with it. Just play with it. I mean, if I wouldn't have said anything unless you said, well, it was, I feel like I got a lot of pressure on here.
Oh, it drives me nuts too.
I'm working on this one. Like I'm still hooking that because I used to shoot split finger. Now I'm 3 under, but Anyway, play with it if you want to, or just ignore me because that's what most people do.
That's the whole best part of traditional archery. And like I said, that community, because nothing works the same for everybody. And that's super fun. Like people will ask about feedback and it's cool because maybe this will help you, but someone told me this and it didn't help me, but maybe it will help you. And it's crazy what helps other people that doesn't work for you,
Oh, I know. It's so personal. That's why I was getting at the very beginning. Like everything's personal to you. That's why if you shoot split, you shoot instinctive, you're having fun, right?
Yeah.
You're doing well. You're not hitting target. You're not injuring animals.
Yeah.
And you've already said something that's really cool too. You said, well, I'm shooting at hunting distances, which is like, that old phrase that we like to use that's up printed on every single string archer has one of these shirts that says, I hunt close.
Yes.
So, and you said everything, 15 yards. Do you really get an elk within 15 yards of you though? Have you ever done that?
What's funny is I did. And I forgot to raise my bow because they were so
massive
and just breathtaking. Like to all of a sudden they're just there. And it's like, one, I didn't have a shot anyway. So I don't think I naturally was like, oh, let's get in, but I couldn't help myself. I just stood there and we had another one. They came in about 50 yards. It was me and my grandpa and it was a herd of 24 of them. And what had happened is they had followed literally like right in our tracks. We went back and looked and there were our boot prints and then them right behind us. And they had been bugling that morning. And my grandpa is kind of deaf. And so I kept joking with him. I'm like, there's an elk bugling right here. He's like, oh, no, I would hear it. And I'm like, I'm telling you, they're right. We're on them. So we're walking back to get to a spot to eat. And we literally I take off my pack and I go pee. And all of a sudden I look back down the trail and I'm like, holy cow, there's elk. And I hit him. And all of a sudden there was kind of this fork in the road. So they just kept coming out from behind this ridge. And, there was like 5 spike. And then at the very back, there was this beautiful, the butt on this thing must have been at least like 4 feet wide. It was massive. And we just stood there and just like pure awe. And they were like, oh, we should go. Like, let's go. See if we can find them. And, but there's just something about being, 50, let alone 15 yards away from these animals. It's absolutely incredible.
So, yeah, I don't know. I've never been. That's a dream of mine to go elk hunting. Again, if your grandpa wants to adopt me, it sounds, I would never call him deaf. I would just Gramps. I wouldn't call you deaf. So. Like who's better? I don't want to say who's better, but I would never say that about you.
Now I told you also hunt bear. Well, one year we
Yes.
were at elk camp, and we have a lot of huckleberries up here, and
Hmm.
we can bait bear where we're at, but you don't even need to when it comes to the end of April or August. Just find some huckleberry bushes, and they're sitting right there.
Really?
And so we should have just called this one year bear camp because my husband had like three or four different bear. One came literally running straight at him, and he had to yell at him like, "Hey, I'm right here!"
Ah,
Like, and it took off down the side of the mountain because he had no idea my husband was there. But we thought we were driving, and there was this beautiful cinnamon bear just sitting in this bush of huckleberries, just eating it. My grandpa thought it was an elk, so he barreled out of this truck while it was moving to go see what it was. And we come back and we're like, what are the chances it's still sitting there? Well, there was a different one in the same spot. And so that year I had forgot my bear tag. And I'm probably one of the most ethical hunters you will ever meet. I
yeah,
just can't do it. I've had so many people who are like,
of
I want to be
course.
in the shot. Like my grandpa and my husband both had tags, but I was like, I just can't do it.
No.
And my husband was getting out of the car. So he was driving the truck. It was literally sitting up on this ridge, maybe 15 yards off the road, just staring down at us, eating this huckleberry. And I was like, okay, you get out. I'm going to make some mouse sounds in the road. They have horrible eyesight. So I'm like, whatever. But my hair's down. It's practically white, you know? And I'm like, what is this thing going to do?
That's
So
a big mouse.
I have my handgun, and that's about it at this point. So my husband's trying to get from the back of the truck up, and we're on a gravel road. So every time he walks, it kind of looks over at him. Well, all of a sudden it stands up 15 yards, and it's just looking at me, and it kind of takes a couple steps. So now it's like 10 yards just standing. And all of these 3D shoots, I can literally see, the rings on this thing. And I'm like, I will never get this chance in my life again.
Dude, that's awesome. That's
And
so
we
awesome.
didn't get him that year, but I mean, it was really cool, even just to have him standing there looking at us like, what in the world are you? It
That's
was
great.
cool.
That's crazy. That's
Yeah,
crazy. I don't know, 15 yards away from a bear. That's 15 feet tall.
I'm a
You have
girl.
balls. But
I
you
will
have
say,
balls.
I'm like, oh, I wonder if I'll ever be able to shoot them. They're so cute. I love having that like little bit of, okay, this thing can kill me. So there's no
Yes.
question. That moment solidified. There's no question I could absolutely shoot a bear.
Yeah. Yeah. And be happy about it too.
Uh-huh.
You still get those shakes after, I imagine.
Yeah.
That's so cool. So your bear, your elk,
Deer.
deer. So is it whitetail there in
Yes.
Idaho? It is.
Yeah. So
Okay.
there's a lot of muleys down south, but
Yeah.
we have primarily only whitetail up here.
All right. Well, those are fun to shoot too.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's a lot of fun and delicious, and
Very
delicious. They're so good. They're so good. I'm worried about bear. Like I don't know. People hunt bear all the time, and I've eaten bear before. But any carnivores, I'm not a big fan of eating a carnivore.
I have to tell
T-
you, bear is probably my number one favorite.
I liked it too. I liked it too. That's the thing. Like I
Yeah.
remember being like, I was like, my dad's one of his buddies gave him some bear meat for a job he was doing. He's a bricklayer,
Yeah.
and so he gave him some bear meat. He brought it home. We made patties out of it. We cooked
Yes.
it. It was delicious. It was great,
Yes.
right? And and but still, then I think I heard an NPR review or something like that, and like someone getting sick over eating carnivores,
Mhm.
and you got to be very careful about how you cook it and stuff like that. So I've always been like, I'm not going bear hunting, but man, I'd love to go bear hunting. Actually, I would love to go and
Up here
elk
in
hunting.
Idaho, it's nice because when they come out of hibernation in the
Yeah,
spring, that's when we hunt them the hardest. It's
yeah,
because they start to just kind of eat that grass to get their digestion going. And it is really gross, like, because we can bait, like I said. So, like, we took Bradley even out to go bait this last weekend. And as you're like filling this barrel and you're filling all this food, I'm like, this is like, it's going to eat this. Like, this bread is going to get so moldy, and
and
then it's going to
disgusting.
eat it, and then we're going to eat it.
Yeah,
Cool.
yeah. Well, animals eat a lot of weird shit.
They sure
Hey,
do.
my buddy down in Oklahoma he stops off at the donut store and gets all the stale donuts for baiting. Is it? Do you guys
Mhm.
do that too?
Yeah, so we have a bakery here, like a France bakery. They have an outlet,
Yeah.
And you used to be able to go by and for $20 they would literally fill up your truck bed, like fill it. And they would have all their donuts and their bagels and their, raisin bread. And like we would split it between 3 barrels and we'd still have some left over.
Oh shoot.
People have caught on to that though. So we've kind of
Yeah.
had to be more creative. We have like a local bakery, like a grocery store, and they have their own bakery in it.
Yep.
And they'll do like their last day that they can legally sell stuff. They'll mark it down to like $1. So we just load up the cart with, and it just kind of is hit and miss. And then
Yeah.
we use Boar Masters baiting products. And
Mhm.
so we just put a bunch of whatever bread, and then that has all of like the extra scent stuff in it for us. So it's just better that way. We used to do dog food, fry oil, and
Yeah.
barbecue sauce, and it's just gross smelling.
So
Ugh.
so do that? Do you do bear from stand or do you do it ground blind?
So we used to do ground blind, and then we've actually done it all the last few years.
Yeah.
We started with ground blind, and then we started just kind of spot and stalking. And then we didn't do it one spring because the fuel prices were just insane and it just didn't make sense for us to go up there.
Yeah.
So we ended up doing it that fall. Like I said, our elk camps have pretty much become bear camps because they are so bad in these areas now. So we've kind of just put it off till fall. So this is our first year tree stand hunting them, which I'm really excited about. I think that's going to be the best success for us in the way that
Do you
we
have
hunt
like
them.
so this year? Do you have like a run and gun sort of setup, like where you have a tree stand that you just pack in and sticks that you climb up, or how do
I
you do
can't
it?
wait for you to watch this YouTube video that's going to come in a couple, like probably tonight. We took Bradley up there, and it was about a mile straight up this hill, and we took both the ladder stands. So we don't have ladder stands. We have hang on stands.
Right. Right. Right.
And because I'm a girl and I like bougie things, I was like, oh, I need an extra wide seat and an extra large platform until I had to put my own tree stand up. And I was like,
Yeah.
what is this? This is the dumbest thing. Yeah.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
heavy. And luckily, the tree we were in, there's these nice branches. And my husband's like, okay, let's cut those down. I said, no, no. This is what I'm going to sit on to put this stupid stand up. And I did. I literally had to straddle a tree branch to put that dang thing up in it. So I think we're going to move to climbing tree stands next year.
Yeah, I don't know about climate change. Like, get a really nice light setup, but you're a
Yeah.
fit mom. You're a fit mama. Come on,
Fit mama.
that's
I
that
know.
fit mama. You don't need to worry about that. Just do it.
Yes, I
You know, it's
know. We
part of
got
it.
it up. We have ladders that clip in together and they strap on too. So it's a really nice setup. And once they're up, it's fantastic. They're super comfy. They're super sturdy. And the
Yeah,
extra large platform is very nice. I like feeling comfortable in them, but
yeah.
it's just a process.
Well, I mean, you're a petite person, but you're a big person. You're tall,
Hmm.
right? You're
Yeah.
5'10". So,
Yeah.
what do you have? Like size 12 shoes or 14 shoes? No, I'm kidding. I'm just
I was a
joking.
goalkeeper in college and people used to laugh at me because I have really kind of small feet for my height and I have
Yeah,
really small hands. So I am
really.
tall in certain areas and I guess small in others.
I was a goalkeeper too in college, by the way.
For the best.
Yeah. So give me so let's get back to a little bit of archery and then
Yeah.
how you can help out some of the viewers like you're seeing success in hunting. You've been doing this for a lot of years. What's one piece of advice you would give someone to just just
Get
hey, this
into
is how
it.
you can get better. Yeah. What? Sorry.
To get into it, you got this.
Oh yeah.
I would say the number one thing for me is learn from somebody that you trust that can really help you gain the right techniques so that you're
Yeah.
not fighting yourself in bad habits. The number one thing that I see a lot of people do is they'll get a hand-me-down bow like me. And what can be really detrimental to them is if it's too much bow for them and they're trying to pull back too heavy of a weight, they're going to create
Yeah.
really bad habits out of the gate. So having somebody that you can trust, having a bow, you can get fantastic beginner bows. I mean, like Cabela's has these nice PSEs. I was shocked that are really solid little takedowns for like
Yeah.
25 pounds that
Yeah.
are awesome beginner bows. So, and they're like $100, So definitely starting with a bow that fits you so that you can gain the right techniques and then play with it. Play with you know, split finger, play with tab, play with glove, play with all the things, different anchor points that work for you, you know. Find what works for you. Just because somebody's telling you you have to do it one way is not always the case, you know. Find what works for you.
Yeah, great. That's fantastic advice, especially for someone getting into it. So, hey, remind us really quickly, where can people get hold of you if they want to follow you or check out what you're doing?
So I'm on Instagram religiously, and I'm at Stickbow Fit Mama. So it's Stickbow, one word, underscore Fit Mama is kind of lumped into one word. And then on YouTube, you can just search Stickbow Fit Mama, and that's how you'll find our page on there.
That's awesome. And, thanks again. I just want to say, this has been a delight kind of talking to you and chatting with you. I mean, I love the whole family vibe. Love that about archery. You just exemplify, what great single string archers are supposed to be, trad archers are supposed to be. And it's tough, when you have a husband that, shoots compound. That's the only thing I can only find one fault, and that was it. So,
hey, but remember, he can shoot a recurve pretty dang good too.
Yeah. It's like Quigley Down Under. Have you ever seen that movie? Quigley Down Under? Okay. So Tom Selleck, you're not old enough, but anyway, Tom Selleck goes down to
his nice mustache.
He had a mustache, and he's a cowboy. He's down in Australia, right? And he's known for shooting, like he's a marksman. They bring him down to Australia. They want to get rid of all these cattle wranglers, and he's known for like shooting a shotgun, rifle. And he can like snipe anyone out for like 3, 5, 6, 800 yards. He's just amazing. The whole show he goes through this stupid thing. He won't touch a pistol. He's like, I'm not touching that. I'm just blah, 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 whatever. Comes down to the final boss, and the guy says. He hands him a pistol and he goes, okay, I'll fight you. You guys shoot this pistol. And so he's like, okay, looks at it. He's all beat up. He's like, and they go to draw and Quigley shoots him as like super fast with this pistol and kills him. And he says, I said I didn't like shooting them. I didn't say I couldn't shoot them. It doesn't mean I can't. It doesn't mean I can't. You got to see that. You got to see that. I mean, everyone that I'm talking, like everyone listening to me right now must remember that, or at least go watch that. It's one of the great cowboy movies.
Awesome. Really I will have to watch. I love Tom Selleck, so I will watch that.
Love that dude too. Anyway, don't forget to check out our sponsor, the Push Archery. They have a ton of great resources online and all their equipment, all their gear, it's so much fun. They got great colors and they got great t-shirts and anything you can want for a trad archer, and archerypass.com. And if you're looking for trad archery gear, check out archerypass.com. Madison, thanks very much for joining us. I appreciate you being here.
Yes, thank you so much. I really appreciate the opportunity.
Yeah. Hey, no, we do. We appreciate talking to you. This is going to be great. Everyone, hunt the good stuff. We'll talk to you in the next one. Take care. See you later.
Bye.
What tab are you shooting?
Ghost!
Ghost tab, obviously.
Don't forget to check out our sponsor, archerypass.com, for all your traditional archery needs.